Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a plan with me for the week of June the 10th through the 16th, 2024. And I do apologize again for the shadowing. I really need to figure out a different setup if I'm choosing to film at night, because the way things are set up is just not working well. And I also recently broke my tripod that sits on the desk. So I'm going to have to order another one. I'm not sure if I'm going to order that same one or order a different one. But yeah. So that is that. I am still using this layout. I'm using two heavy planners. What were they all? All heavy planners, basically, because I am back to using the Spoonful of Faith, which I thoroughly enjoy, and the Agenda 52 Girls Foiled. I didn't get a chance to use the quotes one from the other heavy planner, but these really did the job. And at first I didn't think that they would mesh well, but they did. As far as my layout, I'm still using the same layout as I've used last week, so it's working for me. The only thing that I'm not so used to is obviously this bigger size for the initial just whole page planning. I am missing my weekly forecast. I didn't know how I would feel about it. That's why I tried to leave it out, because at first I thought it was just too much repetition as to what I'm doing throughout the week. But I've realized that I really need it. And even if I don't have the weekly forecast, I don't have to use it on 2 pages, but it was just a really good guide for me. I'm also missing my little 1 page that I used to do for the weekly task. That's why I have that green paper. I have a green, kind of A6 size sticky that I'm using to put my weekly task on, because it's just easier for me to do it that way. So some things that I didn't include in this book that I can say I really miss. So next month, I'm going to definitely implement the weekly forecast back in. I might still be in this one for next month because I still have pages, and the layout that I am anticipating on using for next month is going to be only 2 pages for 1 week, and versus to the 1 page that I'm doing now. It was a good look at, I would say, as close to the Hobonichi as I can get or make it. What I am going to do is, I just have to, one thing I've noticed that I need to do is remember to get back, to look at it literally every day more than that one section, and not back plan, but fill in. Typically I'm filling in 3 days at a time when it comes to habit tracking and filling out my meals. I'm not doing it every day, and I just want to get into utilizing this literally every day. That's one thing that I've realized may be an issue in terms of my productivity and just habits that I want to start. So I did notice while doing this that I forgot to stamp in my AM and PM. I definitely can write it in, but I just want to keep the consistency and use the stamps for that. And as far as my AM, again, if you didn't watch the last video, I'd say I am putting in AM and PM routines because it's things that I want to get in the habit of doing. And so for my AM, it's 10 minutes with God, 10-minute workout, prayer, taking my vitamins, picking my clothes, setting my clothes out for the next day, me and my kids, and just 5 minutes of being still. And for PM, it's getting in prayer, journaling, green tea, stretching for 5 minutes, taking my nighttime medication, as well as reading for 10 minutes. So if I happen to get any of these done in the PM, and that PM includes while I'm at work, whether it's I'm doing that 10 minutes or more reading on my lunch or drinking my green tea, I can definitely get it in. So I'm just trying to create some healthy patterns here before I continue to try to add in more things. But this is working. I like that I've been using the functional stickers. I just need to keep with it and just add in some things. I definitely need to make notes on what I want to include for next month. The other day I made it wasn't so much of what's in my bag. It was me switching my work bags over. I went from a book bag to a regular bag. And I'm not sure about posting that because it looked pretty amateur and basic. I don't know about posting it. It is pretty much amateur. I also have a journal with me video that I am waiting to post. I just need to do the voiceover for that one. So I am a little bit behind. That's another thing that I want to get into my regular routines. So that third row I may just start using for other tasks that I want to get in a habit of doing. But I wanted to talk to you. A few things happened to me this morning. So I'm posting this. So a lot of things has been happening, and I just had like a slight break in like doing the voiceover because I had to take a call. And I've been doing this voiceover like 8 times already. So I'm just gonna weather through the challenges because that is reality. And that's what things is. So many things have been happening. I've been having such a hard time with my kids' bus service and had a lot of issues this morning with it, and it just quite a few challenges that's been coming up regularly, and it is frustrating. So I wanted to kind of talk about not only challenges today, but how we respond to them as well. So some situations and challenges make us very upset, and our responses can be, different according to whatever the situation is, but also what we have on our plate anyway, and what we've been holding in or trying to manage anyway. And when something happens, how we respond just reflects that. And it made me kind of think a lot about emotional regulation. And I know I talk or, do a lot of assessing and things of that sort in my job in terms of like emotional regulation and being able to talk with clients about that. So it's not something that I'm unfamiliar with, but it's also something that has just been coming up a lot for me. So if you don't know, emotional regulation is just like that ability to control your own emotional state. And that could be trying to control behaviors, things that you may do to respond to like a difficult situation, and whether that is kind of managing or decreasing your anger, anxiety, depression, like low mood, anything like that. Or just focusing on something different that's bringing you out of that. So it definitely involves coping skills or ways that you get over things, however you choose to say it or word it. But it's extremely important because one thing that I have personally learned throughout life, but also what I try to instill or make evident in the clients that I work with, is the reason why it's so important to control our emotions is because emotions will change rapidly and it will go through different ones. So one minute we can be very happy and just okay with things. The next moment we could be very sad. The next moment we could be angry, frustrated, and so on. And if we went along with whatever our emotion is and not manage or try to regulate it, it keeps us in this state that's kind of like all over the place. And we're unable to effectively address not only the people around us, the people we may be responsible for, the people that we service when we work. It can affect our overall being, and it's something that I think it's overlooked, especially when you think about family relationships and intimate relationships. I think most people, well, I would like to think most people have some sort of regulation or management of their emotions when it comes to places like their jobs. Because I've heard like a lot of people throughout my life say, you know, I just let it slide while I'm at work because I need my job, or, you know, this is just work. I don't have to see these people all the time, so whatever is whatever. And they either brush things off, let it go, or choose to look at something different. But that shows up very much different in our lives that we live at home with our intimate partners or family or our children. You know, anything like that can be more challenging because we're with these people longer. And so our tolerance is a lot different than it is with someone that we may see just every now and then. Even with our doctors, I've seen some people like literally hold everything in. I've seen some people go off too on their doctors, but I've seen some people hold everything in because they feel like either they have the upper hand or control, and they're just able to manage their response to what they're saying. And it's so important because if we don't have control over our own emotions, not only are our emotions controlling us, but it gives anybody else the power to switch that emotion and change it. So say for instance, I'm in a not so good mood. My mood is kind of low. My motivation is low. Just not feeling good about myself and life at the moment. And I'm already there. And then here it is, my intimate partner, close family or friend comes in and gives me a different situation or does something that upsets me, and it either furthers that depressed mood that I have, or it makes me angry. And if I'm not able to say, you know what, I need time alone, I need to do 5 minutes of meditation, I need to do 5 minutes of exercise to get my mind off of it, I need to, you know, walk away from the situation, I need to put boundaries around people that are in my life, it is going to be more of a struggle. It takes a lot to work on, and that's the reason why routines of utilizing certain habits and coping strategies is important. Because if you practice or deep breathing is a part of your regular routine, then when these situations come that make you anxious or angry, it'll automatically be able to kick in for you. If you're the type of person that regularly meditates, you might be easier to be at a calm state if you're scared or, again, angry or feeling a certain type of way. If you're already able to have like these list of things that you like to do that make you happy, whether it's doing art or walking or anything like that, it can just make it easier. Another reason why this is so important, especially for those of us that have children, is, you know, most times we are our kids' first model of anything. A lot of our kids look up to us and watch what we do. Even if we think that they're not watching what we're doing, they're watching, and they're looking at how we handle situations, how we respond, and how we approach them. And so being able to manage your own emotions, again, models for your children, and starting them out early with learning and knowing things that make them feel better, that make them be able to switch how they feel about a situation, can be very important. and not acting out like ourselves, so to speak, is a good example. So like if something, like even if our kids do something and it makes us upset, and the first thing we can think to do is yell, scream, go to your room, or, just really act out. That kind of just models to them. When someone does this to me, or when someone makes me feel like this, if I'm feeling frustrated, then this is how I should act. Because this is my way of saying, I don't like it, you made me feel bad, or whatever. It's also just talking to them about emotions, talking to your kids about how they are going to experience a variety of emotions, especially growing up in different transitional stages, like going into high school, going into early adulthood, going into adolescence, even from like 10 to 13 and 13 to 16 or 17. It's just like a huge difference. But most of all, teaching them the name of the emotion, and us too as adults, like being able to identify and take responsibility for that emotion, like being able to identify and say, I'm angry right now. It's not, I'm a little frustrated. Sometimes we're angry. Sometimes we're angry, and that is what it is. Sometimes we're confused, and that is what it is. But a lot of times, we don't want to feel that emotion, and so we just throw it off on someone else, and they acted like that, and this is just my response to it. And yeah, it's our response to it, but we don't put a name to that emotion. And labeling that feeling is so important, but also showing them ways that they can express it effectively, because it trickles down, and if it's at home, it eventually can get to school and so on, and then it's just a pattern of, this is how this person acts, so expect this from them, which all turns back around to our self-esteem and confidence and things of that sort. So I know I said a lot today. I just wanted to kind of share with you all. Life is difficult. Life brings us challenges, but how we respond to it is so important. But also understanding why we're responding that way. Sometimes we're totally justified in how we experience things. And sometimes things are difficult. Like, we experience those harder emotions, I'd say, like anger, disappointment, resentment. And the reason why I keep saying anger is because I think it's a misconception of you shouldn't feel angry. You should always be happy. And so when that specific emotion comes up, either people suppress it or respond to it differently. So it's just important to say, I'm disappointed right now. I'm resenting you for what happened, and labeling it and knowing what it is, but also knowing that if we don't manage our emotions, it's consequences to everything. So if we explode, we're liable to consequences of legal action, or losing certain relationships and important people in our lives, losing our jobs if we're unable to control ourselves. And everything has like a trickle effect. If you lose your job, you won't be able to take care of yourself. It's harder to get a different job, and it just goes on and on. But sometimes it affects us physically as well, like when we're dealing or not dealing with our emotions, and we think that we're managing it because it's not coming off in a bad way, or because we're not yelling. But yeah, we're holding that in. And what is it doing to us internally, to our self-esteem, to our confidence, but also what is it doing to our body, holding all these emotions in? And stress, it's exhausting, it's stressful, and it shows up in our health. So I hope that was helpful for some of you all. I hope you all have an awesome week this week. I hope any challenges that comes your way this week, you're able to identify why you have that emotion toward it, and what you can do to work through it if you feel you didn't handle it correctly the first time. So just acknowledging and being, you know, aware of what is going on is important. And I will see you all in the next video. Look out for my upcoming videos.